Very quickly, we just got to give an update before we hop into the rest of today's topics about the Saline data center. The fight for data centers in Michigan continues on, and I know we did a long segment on it last time, but it seems to be that ground is being made by the people here.
It's 2025, so we have to take every small win. Every small win counts. You're right. We spoke about it a lot last week, and I believe we were telling people last week to basically contact their legislator. We were telling them to contact the MPSC, and basically let them know that look. Just to be very, very clear, we're not saying no to AI, although
I am. I'm saying no to AI.
I'm probably been talking about AI for the last 2 years, so I'm saying no to AI. We're not saying no to data centers, but we're definitely saying we want transparency. If these people want to have access to our incredible resources that we have here in Michigan, our natural resources, we want to at least see the fucking contracts and the obligations that these people are under. And it worked. All of you guys out there went out and contacted everybody, and what's happened, Norris?
Yeah, so right now the MPSC has pushed back approving this particular contract for the Saline data center. The whole reason why DTE and OpenAI and Oracle were pushing this so hard is because they wanted what's called an ex parte agreement, which basically means we can start building without public inquiry or insight. That has been pushed back to later on this month. And also in Howell, which is a Meta-backed mega project that was supposed to happen in Livingston County, has now basically been put on ice. They've withdrawn their entire zoning proposal. And so now that data center is up in the air. So the people are speaking. They don't want these massive data center mega projects in their backyards. And to be clear, as you said, Julie, data centers are already here. There's already almost 60 data centers in Michigan right now. But the difference is they're in, small buildings and baby skyscrapers and, very nondescript locations across the state. People did not want these huge, multiple 100-acre. The project in Saline was something like a 500-acre plan, $7 billion, one of, if not the largest data center in the entire country. So people were like, nah, they note the whole thing. And we'll see where it goes from here.
There's a protest next Tuesday. So in Lansing, there's a protest where basically people are going to be gathering at the Capitol to basically protest all of these huge mega data centers. And I think we are also going to have an episode on Laurie Goldman's For the Sake of the Argument, where she's going to be interviewing the Attorney General, which I think will drop next Tuesday. So for more information and detail into data centers in general and the implications it could have for us as a state, make sure to tune in.
And on top of the data centers that already exist, there's a number of projects that are either in the works, currently being litigated or discussed, or there have been rumblings of these towns or townships or cities having data centers in them. So kind of here's, if you're in any of these areas, this should be on your radar. There's plans that are already in place for Augusta, Lansing, Monroe. We talked about Saline, Ypsilanti. That one's backed by the University of Michigan. Benton Township, and the one in Howell now has been put on pause. But if you're in any of these towns, nothing has officially been put in place, but they are being targeted by some big tech companies in the future. So you have Dundee, Kalkaska County, Marshall, Mason, Lowell, Pavilion, which is out in Kalamazoo County, Southfield down here in Metro Detroit, and York. That's not the complete comprehensive list. There's more. You can slide over to social medias, the still social media pages. Ooh, got tongue-tied. Pages to check that out and get even more information, as well as our Substack.
I was going to say, make sure you follow us on Substack, because we've got a very comprehensive, which you did just recently, Norris, which shares all of the information on that. So, and of the protest.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Point of Disorder podcast. I know you're used to seeing Adrian talk to you first here, but it's me, Norris.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jeremy from Head in the Office. Back.
Okay, we just wanted to make sure that you listen in to Laurie Goldman for the sake of the argument next Monday, because we have a very special episode where we will have the sister of a undocumented immigrant who was detained last weekend here in Detroit, and we want to hear the story about her and her family and what they're dealing with at the moment. We want to add some the human element behind everything that's happening in ICE and their incredibly inhumane actions at present right here in our own city. So make sure you check that out for the sake of the argument with Laurie Goldman next Monday.
All right. And before we get knee deep into these topics, we want you to follow us on all of our social medias. That is at Point of Disorder, also at Distill Social on all your major social media platforms. You can also check out the Guerrilla Politic. And don't forget to follow our Substack. Just search Distill Social on Substack, as well as Head in the Office, as Jeremy just said.
So true. Head in the Office on all platforms.
There you go. There you go. Well, we're going to keep things here in Michigan. We're actually going to start the show with some good news. We're going to start the show with something happy, and we want to send a congratulations out to Mayor-elect of the city of Detroit, Mary Sheffield, who just got hitched over the weekend. It's official. Everybody was wondering, was she getting married? But guess what? She did. Mary got married.
That was so quiet, her engagement and everything. Like I hadn't heard a thing. Maybe I'm outside of the zeitgeist in that area, but I had no idea.
No one knew. Like, that's the thing. So she got married to Ricky Jackson Jr., who is the manager of a number of community programs across the city based on the east side. And, I wanted to bring this up to say, I think that was really intelligent to say nothing about your personal relationship whatsoever while you were running for a major public office.
Yeah, I hope she can move in silence in the same way against data centers, for example, protecting the city of Detroit. It shows some kind of acumen for doing this kind of thing. So good sign.
And also shows some strategic thought. So often we see people that are kind of make this big fucking deal about their relationships, even politicians. We see that. And it's strategically, it's so much smarter to keep it underground. So it just gives people one less thing to shit on and to target. Yeah. So I think strategically it was a good move by her to keep it quiet.
I think it's cool because please don't grift for your spouse.
Yes.
Because if I got to see Stephen Miller's wife again anywhere,
man, she's got a podcast. She's a competitor.
I know she's a competitor, which is I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want any more spouses of people who are just already not good at their jobs passing on their grift to the rest of the family.
And if we look at it, Mamdani and his wife, it was so interesting through that entire campaign. She was if I follow her on social media, she's an artist. She has her own kind of gig, so to speak. I'm sure not as lucrative now as what her
or it might
husband
be more.
is.
It might be more lucrative.
I don't think Mom Donnie's going to take the Turkish bribes in the same way that Eric Adams is.
I'm talking about in terms of, now you can get the first lady in New York's graphic design.
But that's true. That's true. But but they've got a nice new house they'll be moving into, I saw. But she was very much said nothing. She was very her social media, if you go through it, she was literally said nothing. She would occasionally say, she does that month in review kind of stuff, life lately.
Yeah.
And I think there was one photo in there of her and Mamdani, shout out to the fact that he was running for office. But that was it. And it was very low key. I did too.
She was so uncontroversial that the only attack on her towards the end of the campaign was that she was aloof.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't in the spotlight. And it's he's the one running. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? No disrespect. I don't care about what she got going on. She's not running for office. So
and she's super cool as well. There's something about her.
Oh, absolutely.
And the wedding photos go crazy.
I think also there's a lot of bit of jealousy there because, previous, you see first ladies in other offices and they just are not cool.
No.
And she's cool.
And it's a young socialist with a hot wife. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, as we move on to somebody who will definitely not be getting married anytime soon, Nicholas J. Fuentes. has gone on to Piers Morgan. Talk about a collection of two just
Modern geniuses.
nightmare blunt rotation.
Titans of the
God.
industry. Truly.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes appeared on a show with Piers Morgan, his show, and they had a discussion about obviously misogyny, which is something that Fuentes is well versed in. The conversation goes on. Eventually, Fuentes reveals that yes, indeed, he is a virgin.
Yeah, fork found in kitchen.
You know, I wanted to talk about this to say, listen, I know the sort of incel conversation has kind of faded into the periphery of the political discourse nowadays, but we still got to talk about Fuentes and the Groypers and his followers and how much of them ascribe to some of just the absolute vile stuff that he kicks out. And they're all virgins. They're all just...
Well, and in fact, that's the basis of their political movement. The basis is that they've been like wronged by women and that women have like too much power. They're too controlling in society. And they have formed a political movement around the fact that they can't get laid.
They are completely unfuckable,
Yeah.
is what I want to say. If you look up, female dryness, it will literally have their names next to it. And I can say that
Ben
because
Shapiro will be in there too.
Yeah,
As he
for
said
sure.
publicly before.
Yeah.
these guys, and I have had the pleasure or the displeasure of meeting Nick Fuentes. He is a very tiny man. He has no presence. And I'm not saying that you have to have that. That's not a thing. But there is something about the way that these guys behave. And it's not just the way they look, it's how they behave, which just makes you kind of like, oh, I don't want to talk to you.
It makes your skin crawl.
Like it does. It makes your skin crawl. I just want to point out that we, it was last year, I think it was the 17th of May last year, we put out a podcast which included, we'd found a clip that Nick Fuentes had actually, from his Rumble account, and he has this like Rumble TV kind of, whatever you want to call it, show.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about the problem with America is that basically men are not taking control of their wives.
Yeah.
And went into, and I just want to like point out that if from a trigger warning perspective, before you listen to that episode, make sure you're ready for it because it had a lot of sort of, he was referring to the fact that men don't beat up their wives anymore. They don't rape their wives. He even said they don't kill their wives. Therefore, women are not scared of men anymore. So the power change.
First of all, categorically untrue. Like that still absolutely
The
occurs.
threat of violence is ever
It's
present.
Like,
yeah.
like, let's just domestic violence just is over now. Like that's just completely untrue. But this is the kind of stuff that, you know, when I talk to a lot of my female friends, whether they be single, in relationships, married, whatever, like many of them, particularly millennials and younger, are experiencing these people in real time. They're encountering these people on a borderline daily basis, whether it be in the workplace, in DMs, you know, at social gatherings.
On the dating sites.
Yeah, the dating sites, which, y'all, all you have to do is not be a weirdo.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to say it's the easiest thing in the world.
Clearly
but
not
it's-
for these guys.
But it's not hard.
Yeah.
And what's ended up happening is that you've become justified in your own lameness. And instead of saying, maybe I just should stop being lame because that will require work, you decide that, no, I'm just going to find community in my collective lameness and move forward with a political ideology that says women have no value to me and therefore I should abuse them, but also at the same time, the only reason I'm actually angry is because I have no access to women. That those things already just don't jive. It's a cognitive dissonance type situation.
And the thing that really concerns me about all of this is that young men and the infiltration this sort of information has and the influence it has on young men is really, really fucking concerning to me. Like it really is an issue. And I know
It's
I'm
everywhere.
sitting here.
It's everywhere.
I know I don't see it,
Yeah.
but you guys would probably see it and have more sort of visibility of that. But I'm sure as a young man, you probably could tell us a little more about that.
Well, hell, I mean, even JD Vance is like capitulating to Nick Fuentes because Vance thinks that like the Fuentes and his base is a group of people that he's going to have to pick up if he wants a future in politics. Like JD Vance won't even defend his wife. He's got an immigrant wife or a daughter of immigrant wife, a brown woman, and he won't even get out there and defend her. Yeah. Like, this stuff runs so deep for the right wing. They've so thoroughly captured power that they feel it necessary to give up on the people that they're married to for the sake of political gain.
But remember that Peter Thiel, who was behind J.D. Vance, also doesn't think women should have the vote.
Yeah.
Like his misogyny, it runs very deep as well. So you're right. It runs not just through the people that we see on a day-to-day basis in terms of the politicians and the influencers. It goes back to who's backing them. Money. Yeah. Always follow the money.
And the movement, like, it's not even, I guess, I don't know. Using the word movement feels wrong. But, like, I don't know. I
disagree. I think it's absolutely a movement.
Yeah, sure.
It has political power and it has figureheads.
Sure.
It's a political movement.
So, but the point I want to make is, like, a lot of dudes have this experience when they're young where they're insecure because they're teenagers and they feel a sense of rejection because the girl they like doesn't like them, or they're not even like confident enough to approach the girl that they like. And then conservatives like Nick Fuentes, but also others that aren't like necessarily in the manosphere, they come in and they latch on to this deep-seated insecurity connected to men's sexuality, and then they blast it into orbit and connect it to all these other arbitrary things like tax policy and foreign policy and anything else in the conservative agenda. And all of it is just built on their innate feeling or their deeply held feeling that women don't like them and that they are owed power or they are owed leverage over women, like Nick Fuentes said in that clip that you just brought up. Like, so much of male identity is based on either your ability to get sex or your ability to control women. And that is the basis of a big majority or a big chunk of the conservative movement.
Absolutely.
And a reminder that at the same time, they're actually building legislation around that. So taking away women's right to choose, even looking at things like, contraception, access to contraception across the board. This is like, it's massive.
Well, and then what makes it even funnier, and the last point that I want to bring up is that then essentially what happens is that still doesn't guarantee that women latch themselves to you.
No, they want the state to guarantee it.
No, but even that doesn't guarantee anything, right? Because again, if you create legislation that makes it so women are financially dependent on men, that means that the men who are financially strong will get all the women.
Yeah.
Therefore, most of these people, obviously your Nick Fuentes notwithstanding, people who have made money on this grift, none of you will get the women you desire. They will all continue to orbit around people who have means.
Yeah, or even if the government does give you a state-mandated girlfriend, they're just going to hate you.
They're just going to hate you.
Like, you're going to be miserable.
And,
because
probably murder you.
Yeah, the basis... exactly. Like, bring back poisoning is what's going to happen.
Yes.
But, like, the basis of a happy relationship is not the government saying that she has to be with you.
That just sounds like a fundamentally bad idea,
We have all watched The Handmaid's Tale.
Right, exactly.
Right? So that's exactly what it is. Bottom line, Nick, no surprise that you've never had sex with a woman. Just want to point that out.
I do want to say on Nick Fuentes, it's very funny to me that the white supremacist movement in this country is led by a virgin with the last name Fuentes.
That's perfect. That's the poetic justice of it all.
It's perfect, but it's so absurd to me.
Yeah.
That like the crucible of white supremacy and misogyny is led by a loser who doesn't even have
virgin midget named Fuentes.
Who's not even like white.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Like, white supremacy is so fundamentally absurd. And just look at the figureheads.
There you go. Perfect example. Well, speaking of extra white, the Pantone color of the year, they do this every year, y'all. They put out a color, they say here's the color to look forward to, everybody's gonna be wearing it, the designers are gonna lean on this color. In years past, it's been, varying shades of purple, red, and we've seen them all, but this year they decided
it was brown last year.
Brown last year for shit. But now 2026, the color of the year, Cloud Dancer, AKA super white, extra white.
Why is
white on white?
Every company's coming out and they're like, "Hey, I'm Hitler, by the way." just want to let you all know that I'm evil and I hate people of color. Like, every company's doing that this year.
Yeah,
the Sydney Sweeney ad, everything.
Okay, I do want to bring it to that because apart from, we will get to talk more about Cloud Dancer and the color Pantone color of the year, but Oxford Dictionary, the word of the year is rage bait.
Feels appropriate.
Feels very fucking appropriate.
I feel like Oxford also just be a few years behind the ball because like rage bait is not a new word in any way.
I feel like it's an acknowledgement of feel like it's an acknowledgement of where we are right now, and I don't mind that it's out there because at least we're actually lots of people don't even understand that there's rage bait out there.
That's true because I still see people arguing with bots.
Correct.
Exactly. Consistently
There is not that kind of...
I mean, at the very least, it's not like phrenology. You know what I mean?
Fair.
They didn't choose something like insane.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And I feel like it can bring up a conversation that is far more appropriate and useful right now than what a lot of the words in the past have been. But rage bait is definitely the Sydney Sweeney stuff. And I don't know if you've noticed lately, she is definitely doing a cleanup on aisle 24.
Yeah, because all her movies are flopping.
Yeah.
Like every time she puts something out, it goes double wood. Like for real. It's when you have something like that and you clearly saw the discourse around it, like we can't assume that people are dumb or her team is dumb, right? The moment you see something like that, if you truly, that's not your jam, you come out and say something about it. Like the Sabrina Carpenter has that video that uses her music, DHS, of ICE handcuffing people, throwing people to the ground using her music. And she unequivocally comes out and says, this is gross, vile, don't use my music. Olivia Rodrigo does the exact same thing. Sydney Sweeney, crickets for months.
Well, and Sweeney tried to do the vice signaling thing for a while, where she would essentially just like not own it, but live in it and just accept the PR that came her way. But it's never going to work because like we just talked about with the Fuentes thing, they all hate you.
Yeah.
Like they're just using the imagery around you as like an attractive blonde woman. They don't give a shit about you or your movies or your performances or anything like that.
No, you're a walking breeder.
Yeah, that's all you are to them. So it's never going to work. But I do think it's crazy that companies leaned into woke back in 2020 and now they're all leaning into being like mini Hitler in 2025. It just goes to show you that all they give a shit about is money.
It's money. They're all
They have
soulless.
no moral scruples about any type of movement. They just want money.
And listen, man, Target is still feeling heat over their, DEI programs going away. And at the end of the day, y'all, that's the only thing that matters. Vote with your dollars. If these companies are angering you by not upholding the morals that you think are important, go somewhere else. There's plenty of places to spend your money.
Can we talk for a minute about the Pantene color of the year, the white? What do you think about that? Like,
Pantone.
Pantone, not Pantene. God, Pantone. Yeah, Pantone.
Yeah.
Sorry. The Cloud Dancer. Because honestly, usually what that color means is you're going to see more of people wearing it.
More of it, yeah.
And I am, you know what, you all know that I am lots of people don't like to wear white. I actually like to wear white, particularly in summer. It's kind of like a comfy, easy thing for me. We're going to see more of it around. But what do we think? Because there's been a lot of talk about it being sort of tone deaf from the point of view that like white supremacy, as we were saying, turning into Nazis. Do we take this shit as I mean, brown, I thought that was great that it was brown last year. I thought it was terrific. But do we really think that they think that deeply into it?
I think it is a combination of not operating in certain spaces. Obviously, the fashion world tends to be very agnostic to the political world.
Yeah.
However, not understanding that fashion and clothing is power and can display power is not just tone deaf. I think it's kind of ignorant and kind of silly, right? Because, there's a reason why soldiers dress in uniform. There's a reason why, like, Hugo Boss designed Nazi uniforms, right? There's a reason why this stuff becomes attractive to people because it's cool. Like, villains are cooler because they dress cooler, they act cooler. Like, this is a part of the whole thing. So
Darth Vader was a vibe, man.
He was a vibe. He was a vibe.
That's what I wanted to dig into because I think about color and I think that I don't think about it as like sending a message. But at the end of the day, white is a really, if we're just talking about fashion, it's a really fucking hard color to take care of.
Yes.
You can't just, you've got to have money to be able to wear because you have to have it laundered. It's one of those weird. Anyway, I'm digging too far into this, but there is something about
when it comes to these corporate things like Sweeney or the color of the year choice here, like I don't know the process for it, but I can almost guarantee there is a process, right? It goes through multiple levels of people looking at it and making sure they're making the right choice and putting together like graphic design so they can promote it and all this stuff. The company knew what they were doing.
And somebody along that lines, like you can't tell me that everybody in that process that you just named is completely politically ignorant.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Someone will have thought about it.
Yeah.
And again, same thing with the Sydney Sweeney thing. So like when we start the year off with Elon Musk hitting a Sig Heil at the inauguration, when Stephen Miller literally just ripped like a Goebbels speech after the Charlie Kirk assassination, I don't know. I can't look at this and think like, it's just a whoopsie.
It's an accident.
It's got to be intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to stay on the vibe of super white, and we're going to go down south and talk about the University of Oklahoma. We were going to talk about this last week, but we just had too much to get to. There was a student at the University of Oklahoma who filed a formal complaint with the administration, citing that she was not allowed to talk about her Bible-based essay that talked about multiple genders, and she said it was demonic. The paper got a super F, not just an F. It got a super F. And now those instructors have been placed on leave. And I wanted to get you guys' reaction because intelligentsia is supposed to be a place where all forms of thought are supposed to collide. And the forum is supposed to be open, but also at the same time, you also have to know like how to write and what you're doing. And it sounds like the essay was just a bad essay and she got failed.
Well, Samantha Fulnecki failed because she didn't reach the word requirement. Like
so automatic F.
The essay itself, the content of the essay was dog shit. Like I'm convinced she might just be illiterate. But like she didn't reach the requirements, but of course TPUSA has to latch onto it because it's an example of like how whites and Christians are being wronged in the culture war.
So let's just point out that TPUSA is Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization, the late Charlie Kirk's organization, and they spend a shit ton of time at universities going around speaking to young people and like basically getting them activated. So that's why they've lent into this.
And essentially what Turning Point and what this girl, Samantha Fulnecki, has decided to turn this into is a flashpoint for the culture war in to say that she was unallowed to express her religious, freedoms and her opinions on, gender ideology within this paper. And that was not the case. Your paper just sucked.
It didn't even cite the Bible. It just it just said the Bible says. There's no like MLA citation.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to the Nick Fuentes thing. Is that white supremacy has to exist because if it didn't for these people, they would have no future. They are so painfully mediocre that, listen, and also like Oklahoma, Big 12, SEC, like at that point, she's just looking to get married to a future senator or like a future congressman or something.
Shit, she might be a future senator with this political
environment. But the point is, and the reason why this is important to me is that I've been a TA, like I've taught 100 level classes at the university level, and let me tell you, I would have failed her too. And I would have stood on it because it not only did it not meet the requirement, it just was poorly written. And at some point, these people got to learn how to lose.
Yeah, the thing is, like, it's even more pathetic than Riley Gaines. Like, at least with Riley Gaines,
it's way worse than Riley Gaines.
She was in an athletic competition. She had a history of being a swimmer before. Samantha Fulnecki, like I said, is just fucking illiterate. Like, there is no redeeming quality. I think the Riley Gaines shtick is stupid and tired, and her only claim to fame is tying for 5th place with a trans swimmer.
Yeah.
But with Fulnecki, it's like, what possible justification is there for giving her a speaking spot at like the TPUSA event that happened afterwards? She did nothing but write a bad essay.
Yeah.
Like, conservatives' only strategy for the media is to grab, like you said, like unremarkable people and fail them upwards.
Yes.
Well,
it's so stupid.
She did more than actually just write it. She then filed a complaint.
Right.
And then escalated that, right?
Well,
so that is what you have to do. Most of us would go, oh, fuck, I fucked up, and this is not a good essay, and we'd move on with our lives.
But she filed the complaint because she's emboldened. The culture has emboldened her to believe that because she cited, I say cited the Bible, but because she used something biblical in a paper that was supposed to be about gender ideology, she thought that this is a culture war moment and I need to file a complaint because I am being discriminated against.
But she was being smart enough to know that that would probably be escalated and we'd be where we are today.
Yeah.
She's also had speaking spots, as I understand it, on Fox News. Like, she's
Yes.
been like...
She's being blasted into orbit.
Yeah, she's been like, this is how. So, yeah, I agree with you. And I know I always feel like I'm sort of, tilting at windmills, but I agree with you. Like, it was a shit paper and she didn't deserve to pass. But at the end of the day... She's followed the actual program that we all know works.
The pipeline, yeah.
But when we talk about like the incels, like why don't y'all be mad at this kind of person? Like you're always mad at like the black woman with 4 degrees who becomes a doctor and a millionaire and decides to run for Senate in Texas. But you don't get mad at the girl who literally just decided to fail her way into talking gigs at Fox and Turning Point. Like, and I'm not saying that you should be mad at any woman for that. I'm just saying I don't understand why you direct your anger one way but not the other way.
My favorite part of the story by far is that her mom was an attorney for the January 6th defendants.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It kind of is.
Like, that makes me think that this was a plant. Like, there was an
Yes.
intentional strategy from the beginning before she even submitted the essay to make this happen.
Which is how it all happens, right?
Yeah, of like, oh, wow, Samantha, you're, cute brunette girl, college is not your future. Let's just get you in somewhere, and once you're around, we'll be able to take you to the next level.
And if Full Necky can graduate, then my degree is just fucking meaningless.
Yeah.
Like, we're just handing them out to anybody at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
if you can literally go in and not know how to write anything, then like, well, why did I go to college?
Yeah.
I'm in debt however many thousands of dollars
I
for
was
this
going to
shit.
say, because someone needs to make money out of it. You need to understand.
Good point.
Jeremy. It's all about money at the end of the day.
It is. Well, all of this is also centered around social media, and we talked about incels and groypers and all that kind of stuff. Well, the state of Michigan is deciding that they want parents to have more control over their teens being able to get social media accounts. So a new bill is being introduced in the House of Representatives in Michigan that is going to require parents to give permission for their children to use social media accounts. Thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
How is this going to be implemented? Like, because like anytime I went on a website as a kid that was like you had to be 18 years or older, I just
click yes.
Yep.
Don't know. I have some thoughts about this. I feel bad that we don't have the mums here to have this conversation. I feel good because we have you here who was obviously in this age range not that long ago, or certainly much closer to my age range.
Mentally still there in many ways.
Girl, so am I actually, which is problematic. But
Holding on
anyway,
to it.
yeah, me too. Particularly in 2025, feels like the good old days. Yeah. So the problem I have with this particular one is the reliance on parents. I just don't think it's fair to. I think parents have a difficult enough time communicating with their children, specifically about sort of often shit they don't know about. Like if parents aren't in, like they might know about Facebook, they might even know about Instagram, but they're not going to. Most parents are not going to know about the various other platforms that are available that kids are using. Kids aren't on Facebook.
Yeah.
Very few kids are actually even on Instagram. They're on, their Snap. I'm not even
They're
going
on
to say
TikTok, they're on Snapchat, they're in many other places. And I agree. I think putting this on the onus of the parents is a mistake. I think if you make a requirement for the platforms to operate in the state, I think that's a different way to approach it. I know it's a more difficult thing to do, but I think that's how you would have to approach it, because if not, all you're going to do is one of two things. Either you're going to make the kids like how we were in the frontiers of the
Click right
internet,
through, baby.
just click right through the age verification, or you are going to require people to give ID to these tech companies, and that opens a whole nother can of worms.
So in Australia, just this week, it has actually become illegal for kids to go onto social media that are under 16. So basically, you have to be 16 or older, I think, to be able to use social media, and that includes. But what they've done is they've put the onus on the actual platforms. So they're actually charging the platforms $50 million, which is nothing. It's a parking fine, to be honest, for these platforms. But at the end of the day,
$1 trillion companies.
But at the end of the day, what it's trying to do, I think, and there's lots of discourse about this. Don't get me wrong. There's lots of discourse about this. However, what it's doing, the reliance isn't on the parents, so I think that's really helpful. It's on the platforms but the platforms are the hardest to fight back against, right? They're the hardest.
Yeah.
But what we have to remember is these tech billionaires don't let their kids on social media. So they know the fuck that this is bad for their own children. So why is it that it's okay for ours?
Well, in the same way that, their kids eat way better food than every other kid. It's the same thing. When you have access to something better, you give it to your kids. And right now, I think in the case of Australia, that's at like the countrywide level.
Yes.
That's like the equivalent of the federal level here. And I think that would have to change in America for us to be able to have anything that would go after the platforms.
You're right, because what it does, so I mean, Australia's not a big place, we all know that. It's, has a small population, but at the end of the day, what they're trying to do, which I think is really important, is change the social norms. So you won't remember this, you probably do remember this, but back when I was a kid, kids would smoke behind, kids smoking was not unusual.
Oh, my dad started smoking when he was 12.
Correct. That was not unusual. That doesn't happen very often anymore. You just don't see kids walking around having a dart. They're just not doing that.
But it was a concerted effort from the state and federal level put together to create barriers to get kids to smoke. Smoking was already expensive and became more expensive. Then you couldn't smoke indoors. Then the truth commercials were coming out and showing people like what the effects of smoking were, and it scared a lot of kids into smoking. And then, of course, we all just start smoking weed, too. So there's
vapes
that.
are a threat in their own right.
Now vapes are a thing. So each generation has this thing.
But there is an age gating portion of it as well. Where they were saying that you had to be a certain age to be able to purchase cigarettes. Now, we all know that people would have other people do that for them. Like they would get their older brother or older sister to go and buy the pack of cigarettes for them. But what it does, it means that, it's no longer socially acceptable for a kid, a 12-year-old, to walk down the street with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth and drinking a bottle of bourbon. That is just not acceptable. So I think as difficult and as complicated, and look, let's face it, I've got no doubt that the cigarette companies, the alcohol companies, these platforms have a shit ton of money on the line in terms of, if you think about it, not being able to sell shit to kids on Facebook, Instagram.
Right.
Eats into profits.
It eats into profit. So we all know that at the end of the day, they have a lot of skin in the game to make sure that kids still have access, and they want to fight back. In fact, they're really pissed with the Australian government because there are other governments around the world that are looking very closely and looking to do the same thing. And are potentially going to
follow suit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I think we have to think about it like you have to, as difficult as it is, you need to make a step to make it. It's hopefully one day it will be inappropriate for a 12-year-old to be walking around looking at social media and being infiltrated by the shit that's happening.
That's a really interesting way to put it, and I never actually thought about it in that context of like, there was a time where, 14, 15-year-olds were just walking around smoking, chain smoking cigarettes, and now that's just not a thing. That would be interesting to see if we just make it socially unacceptable for children to be on social media.
Exactly. And think about it from the perspective of not just that, but it's also, women smoking cigarettes while they're pregnant. There's all sorts of different things. Once you work out, look, let's face it, social media is not good for young kids. It's just isn't. It's not good for their brains.
Barely good for anybody. But
barely good for anybody else. That's right. Well, nor is cigarettes, nor is alcohol, all of these things. So it's just a matter of changing like the social norms, but also you can't just change. And I want to go back to what you said, the national level. I know I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but the other thing is you can't just change it for a few. It has to be for the whole. Because if you think about, you're a kid not that long ago, Jeremy, I'm pretty sure that if your friends were still on social media, you would then find a way to get on. Exactly. You don't want to be the only one.
Find a way,
right?
Yeah, that's the other thing is like it's socially necessary for a lot of people.
Correct.
And I think the way I approach this is, first of all, like the phones are the problem. for most kids.
Yeah.
Like they're absolutely melting their brains. Like brain rot content is all over the place, but the algorithms are designed to push that kind of stuff. So the phones are the problem. I totally agree that parents cannot be the ones to bear this responsibility. One, because a lot of parents are just fucking stupid. Like people are dumb, you know what I mean? And there's some people that are
And
like,
the parents are brain rotted too.
they're brain rotted too. They're working 9 to 5. Like they don't have time to learn about all these platforms for their kid. If my mom was responsible, like legally responsible for keeping me off of platforms, like she probably would have been sent to The Hague. The amount of shit I got.
I was about to say, yeah.
There's no way.
The
It
people
wouldn't
would have
work.
came and got you years ago.
I love her. She's my number one supporter, but like she just would not have been able to do it. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
My take, I think, is that the government needs to get more involved in protecting children from the kind of predatory nature of these algorithms. But the problem at the end of the day is that the algorithms are owned privately for the purpose of profit to begin with. Like they're always going to be materially incentivized to have the maximum number of users, and kids are really easy to manipulate. And if these platforms are going to be treated as like virtual town halls, then I see no reason why they should be owned privately for the purpose of accumulation.
Well, and not only that, also these companies also heavily lobby and fund our government.
Exactly.
Or let me not say our government, our politicians.
And I would guess it's even bigger than the tobacco industry was back
Significantly.
in the day.
Significantly.
There is a reason that all of those tech billionaires were standing behind Trump at the inauguration,
Absolutely.
and this is exactly it.
Absolutely. So we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about a completely fake thing that was completely made up to completely placate the guy you were just talking about, Donald Trump, and that is the FIFA Peace Prize that was given to Donald Trump in celebration of the FIFA World Cup coming to the U.S. next year, which I am very excited about. However, FIFA, the only organization in the world competing with the United States as the most corrupt entity on the face of the planet, has decided to make up an award to give to Donald Trump because he lost the Nobel Peace Prize and felt the need. Oh, it's gross.
Amazingly pathetic, man.
It's so pathetic.
It's so incredibly pathetic. Like, not only for the organization itself. Like, I mean, universities, multinational organizations, they've been bending over backwards for Trump all year. But, like, Trump himself, to have to accept this fake, made-up prize just for himself to, like you said, placate his attitude towards them. Like, are you not embarrassed?
You should
like,
be.
It's not real. I mean, I know no award is, like, real, but, like, this exists just for you. That's got to be embarrassing.
It will be interesting to see if anyone receives this award next year.
Oh no!
Like if they, like
It's gonna discontinue it.
it would be so funny if it just never happens again, right? Because listen, I know those of you may not be that familiar with FIFA, and FIFA is the organization that arbitrates soccer across the entire planet, and they run the World Cup, the biggest sporting event on the planet, and Gianni Infantino, who runs FIFA, he's the head of FIFA currently, is a huge Trump fan. He loves that guy. This is so unbelievably stupid, especially in the light of the fact that Trump and his administration have freely admitted, yep, we're going to have ICE agents at every match.
That's so
of the World
evil,
Cup.
dude. And anytime I think it can't get more evil, it gets more evil.
By the way, half the countries in the World Cup are on like the you can't get in list.
I was going to say they're mostly brown.
Well, soccer. You know what I mean?
Like it continues to blow my mind at how this administration continues to just infect everything around it and just enshittify all of it.
My favorite word. That would be my word of 2020.
Yeah.
Enshittification.
Because it really does. Like, here's the thing. It's an event that everybody is supposed to love and have joy around it. And yet, we got to kick it all off with this crap.
And what happened to taking politics out of sports?
Exactly.
I thought we didn't want politics
Oh
in
my
sports
God,
anymore.
the dude is at every second fucking football match. What are you talking about? He's everywhere. I'm waiting for him to jump out of my Wheaties packet in the morning. Like, dude is everywhere. But I would say to you that there is no way that they're going to have this prize again because it was made for him. Did you see it? It's all those little tiny little hands
It was
hanging
so-
on.
And it's ugly, too.
Ugly.
It's ugly.
It clearly, you know what it was? ChatGPT designed it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like,
You cannot tell me that Gianni Infantino himself woke up like a week before they were supposed to do the World Cup draw and he went, oh my God, I didn't do the award.
Yeah, they got
Chat-
infinite money for this. kind of thing.
ChatGPT
Yeah.
make me a trophy and gave it to Trump. It's so stupid.
I know we're going to talk in a minute about being fiscally pissed off.
Absolutely.
But you should be fiscally pissed off about this. This World Cup, have you seen the price of these fucking tickets?
Listen, I don't even want to think about it.
If anyone wants to talk about the economy and the cost of living, $2,000 per ticket to go to a game here in the United States. Now, 4 years ago in 2022, when it was the last World Cup,
And it was in Qatar,
it was
by the
Qatar,
way.
yeah, $200.
Yeah.
It has gone up incredibly.
Trump's economy. What the hell?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
It's-
and
it
the
is
sad part
crazy.
is because it's the World Cup and it's every 4 years, and I may only get maybe two other attempts to go to a World Cup in my lifetime.
It'd be cheaper to go somewhere else, Norris. Wait 4 years and fly. So you said $2,000
But I'm
on a
saying
bloody
there's
flight.
there's a lot of people who are going to make that decision who are, perhaps older than me,
Nah,
or
true.
they got kids or whatever, and they're gonna spend the money.
You know what?
And once that happens, the genie's out of the bottle.
I listen to my husband enough to know how pissed off he is with he follows Formula One, the racing, and he's been to it in other parts of the world. He can't afford to go to it here.
Oh, I know a bunch of
it seems
people who
it's
wanted
come
to go to
here.
Vegas
Like,
and they
it's
couldn't
thousands
afford.
and thousands
Yeah.
of dollars to go in the United States. It's cheaper to go to Montreal. It's cheaper to go to Mexico City. It's cheaper to even go to Monaco. It's insane.
Yeah,
how expensive it
It's
is.
cheaper to go to Monaco.
I know. Said nobody ever, but yes.
I'm typically pretty down on like the revolutionary spirit of the American people. Like I genuinely feel like a lot of Americans are just too lazy to like do anything about the government or like serious social problems we face. But if you take their trinkets away for long enough, I think then then it's over.
Oh yeah, maybe.
It's over.
Like the only thing keeping us going is that we get our trinkets. We get to see our favorite TV shows
That's true.
and our sports and stuff.
That is true.
So if you take that away, then they got nothing.
Yeah, if this was the average price for NFL tickets, open revolution.
Oh, they're too expensive as well. They're too expensive.
no, they're
as well.
expensive,
I'm
but
just
they're
saying
not.
to
They're not
you,
$2,500 for lower bowl.
Yeah, I know, but it's bloody expensive. I have no idea how people go to the Lions every game. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just, it's crazy. Like, I'm used to much cheaper prices.
They take
just
out
saying.
mortgages on their house.
Yeah, well, because they live in the suburbs.
Yeah,
they don't live in Detroit.
Yeah, they don't live in Detroit.
But even in the suburbs, I mean, it's shit ton
Yeah.
of money. I mean, I don't know. I'm just used to much cheaper prices. Sport should not be. It should be sport. See, I think about sport as being the thing that brings us together. It's a thing that you go to, and the CEO can be sitting next to the toilet cleaner at the same company. Because if you barrack or you follow whatever the same team, then all of a sudden you're one. And I think it's just always in my life, anyway. I love sport. Has always been a way that you can kind of like I connect with my every age group, every demographic.
No, but now it's a flex.
Yeah.
Sports is a flex now. Like if you can sit on 50-yard line at Ford Field, it's a flex. So again, social media ruining everything and driving up the price of sporting events. Very quickly, I want to talk about this because this is something that will completely ruin our discourse even more. The online betting platform Kalshi is now having a partnership with CNN. Y'all, this is so bad.
Anderson.
Jeremy, can you explain what is Kalshi and why this partnership with CNN is a little bit bad?
Yeah, Kalshi is a it's a capital market, right?
Yeah.
It's a place where you can go and make bets essentially on real world events.
Yep.
And what CNN seems like they're going to do is implement the betting odds into their coverage of events. So
Right below the ticker, there's going to be
Right.
another ticker of real world events odds.
You're gonna have Anderson Cooper talking about like the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and then he's gonna be like, Kelshi odds say that Kyiv's gonna fall in the next 3 weeks. 70% of people have money down on this outcome. Like it's just there's no world where like prestige media in reporting should be connected with gambling at all.
It's just, I mean, it's just open up to corruption from the point of view, the same people that are talking to, because we all know the thing we always have to remember is that when someone's, Anderson Cooper or whomever is talking to us, that has an influence on the way that we think about that particular issue, the way that many people that actually have influence on that issue actually act. And the very fact that Anderson Cooper is talking about something, and at the bottom you can bet on it. You can basically make a bet on it. That to me, like, just screams corruption.
That's the other issue is like when you're betting on sports, like that can already get pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like it's already a major problem. But when you're betting on sports, it's like a closed environment to a certain degree. Not to, players now have a tendency of placing bets against themselves and then performing poorly. That's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
Right.
But when we're talking about like real world events like politics, you can just go out and change the outcome.
Yeah, that's the
Like,
thing.
like this is just and like bookmaking or cooking the books has been a crime forever. Like that's how so many people have made money throughout all of history. If you think that like organizations like CNN won't intentionally tilt the odds to make certain people money, I mean, come on, that's crazy.
It's not even certain people, certain individuals who just have an inside track can do this. Like,
And that's legal.
And it's legal. Here's exactly the scenario that comes to my mind. Like, you have on the odds, political violence, right? That's been a big thing in our discourse, right?
That's going to get crazy if people are betting on political violence.
Somebody is going to make a bet on so-and-so getting popped, 5,000 to 1 odds, 50,000 to 1 odds. And somebody else is going to place a bet either out of greed or desperation and say, all right, bet, I can go make that happen.
Yeah.
And they go make it happen. And somebody is going to get insanely rich off that.
Yeah, and it's already happening. Like, I think there was a bet a few months ago, like if a dildo would be thrown on the court of the WNBA, and then someone just went and did it, and they got their payout. Or another example more recently, I think this was Polymarket. Polymarket is way more egregious than Kalshi, but it's the same type of thing. There was a bet going on. There's bets all the time on, like, what's happening in Gaza or how many people are dying with the war with Ukraine. And there was one series of bets about like the Russian invasion and if they're going to reach certain cities by a certain date. And there was an error with the technology that they were relying on to like track the invasion. And Polymarket paid out the people who bet that a certain city would be under invasion. And then it turned out it was just a glitch in the software and people lost a bunch of money on something that wasn't real. Like, it's all complete nonsense. Not to mention that like you can do these things intentionally and change the outcomes. Like, it is the only way to make money in America in the future is going to be making prompts for AI, running the AI, or gambling your life savings on Kalshi.
Oh my God. The lack of humanity on this is
it
like...
is war profiteering too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is like that. There is just no humanity in that whatsoever. And I would just like to channel my late dad who always, hey, I love a bet. I just want to put that out there.
It's a human thing.
I love a bet.
People do it, have been doing it.
But I do try and stick to horses and things because my dad always said to me, never ever bet on something that can talk. Because that is exactly the issue. If they can talk, then there's a good chance it could be corrupted in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and we just want to close the show out today talking about our good friends over at the Midwesterner who decided to, sling a blade over. Julie, do you have a comment on this one?
Oh, the Midwesterner. I think it's Tudor Dixon's rag that she has. And she decided, or they decided, whoever decided that they wanted to do an article, which is basically trolling Distill Social in the last week. And they just got it completely fucking wrong. You brought it to my attention.
It's not even a good troll. I read
terrible.
it. It wasn't good.
Well,
the
numbers in it were incorrect. It was citing people who hadn't done work with Distill Social for months.
No, years.
Yeah, years.
Dude, years. Like 5 years. Yeah.
It was just all wrong. So, take it from me out there, guys. If you're gonna hate on people, be like 50 Cent. Just take years and just gather up all the information and then put out a great documentary.
Well, I think Tudor Dixon should run for governor again. That was awesome.
That was my favorite.
I had a blast watching her.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
that was a fun time.
Journalism's not your jam. Run for office.
Run for office.
Totally.
That's what we want. But anyway, with that said, everybody, this is going to be it for Point of Disorder. Again, follow us on all of our social media platforms, as well as Jeremy on Head in the Office. Julie, you got one more thing you want to add for the folks?
I do. I'm hoping that Adrian and Gina will be back. I love you two. I really do, and I enjoy.
We need them back.
Yeah, but I'd like to have them back
Understood.
because next week will be our last episode for the year. So we're going to have a little holiday party next week. So look forward to that. So hoping the girls will be back for that. But I do want to give a little quick shout out to my sister-in-law Nat because we just had the Spotify, come up for everybody, your number one podcast, and my sister-in-law Nat in Australia, we were her number one podcast that she listens to. So shout out to Nat, of course I haven't given a shout out to Pat today. So shout out to Pat.
All right, everybody, and with that said, we're when will we see everybody?
We will see everybody next Thursday.
There you go.
But can I just say, I really want to say see you next Tuesday as well. Bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.